Can Tua and the Dolphins overcome the cold to beat the Steelers?
This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Monday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. And again, we appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. We have three big selections today: NFL, NHL, NBA. All of that is coming up over the next 15 minutes or so. So with all that being said, Lee, big game inside the AFC tonight. Get your parka out in Pittsburgh because it's time for our lock of the day.
Open it, open it, open it. Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
Dolphins and Steelers coming up tonight from Pittsburgh, and the Steelers field goal favorite here. Big game for both of them. The Ravens won yesterday, so Pittsburgh needs to win to stay close to the top of the AFC North. And the Dolphins can get to 500, which is one of the biggest Christmas miracles of all time. But, Lee, what do you like here with the Dolphins and Steelers in the cold in Pittsburgh?
And the Dolphins have won 4 straight games, but 3 of those wins, let's be honest, not the greatest of teams. They've beaten the Commanders, the Saints, and the Jets, and now got to travel to Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh obviously missing their star player, Mr. Watt, but another problem here. Just when you think things are good, weather. 18 degrees. They did practice at a high school yesterday in the snow, but going to be tough for them. 18 degrees, 8-mile-an-hour winds throughout the game, and just think it's going to be tough here because Tua and the Dolphins together have never won a game where the temperature when the game started was 46 degrees or colder. Also, they've got, as far as kind of an injury situation, Achane going to start, it looks like, for the Dolphins, but he's coming off playing with some bruised ribs. So he'll give it a go. Who knows how long he can last here. Aaron Rodgers has always seemed to play really well in cold weather situations, has those huge hands. So not the most mobile quarterbacks here with Aaron Rodgers and Tua. But I think Aaron Rodgers, by playing so many cold weather games for the Packers and doing extremely well, one of the best cold weather quarterbacks, I think they had the advantage here. I'm taking Pittsburgh here, 23-16. Lay the 3 points. It's going to be a level 1 lock.
And Pittsburgh off this big win at Baltimore last week. And remember their last home game, they got blown out by the Bills. And now they're taking a Dolphin team, Lee, that, like you mentioned, they've got hot at the end of the season. And now they have an opportunity to get to 500, which is kind of amazing considering the disastrous season they've had. And you still get the Bengals and Bucks coming up, winnable games, which is kind of odd for this Dolphins team. I thought they'd wave the white flag. But it is funny, though, really quick, that one of the most famous Monday night games years ago was that Dolphins-Steelers game in the muck in Pittsburgh, that 3-0 game that nobody could move in. The punch just died on the field in the mud. So this time another bad condition, not exactly rain, but we'll see how the Dolphins overcome it. And like you said, Tua just has had a struggle so far in cold weather throughout his career. Want to look back at the weekend, Lee, really quick before we move on to the next pick. 9-1 on the program. You split the 2 UFC. Though that was the one loser was UFC. But besides that, I'm going to run through these. Bills to come back against the Patriots. Missouri State on Friday in basketball against Xavier. Barely covered, but still a win. Bulls covered against the Hornets on Friday night. Niners over the Titans. The Washington Huskies over Boise State in the famous LA Bowl. The Broncos over the Packers. Also, the 2 Henrys you won on. Derrick Henry over rushing yards, Ravens in their shutout of the Bengals, and Hunter Henry had 1 catch against the Bills yesterday. So your thoughts, succinct thoughts on a nice 9-1 weekend?
Well, made one mistake, the UFC fight. So lost the first fight, the UFC card. We still had a winning card, won our 50-unit max wager. Anyone who was on it feeling good about that, another winning card. So we end the season in the UFC, 20 of the last 27 winning cards. We won in every sport for our clients. Football, basketball and hockey on Saturday and Sunday. And sorry, I only went 9-1.
All right, not too terrible. Not too terrible with those picks. So quick on this before we get to the NHL hidden gem. So we had two devastating injuries in the NFL on both sides of the ball. Micah Parsons of the Packers tore his ACL in their loss to Denver. And, of course, Patrick Mahomes late in that game. The Chiefs lost to the Chargers. Chiefs now eliminated from the playoffs. And Mahomes done for the season with the ACL. So just your thoughts on those two. We know that Kansas City's got nowhere to go now, but Green Bay still with a shot with the playoffs and all of that. How it's going to affect them?
Well, you don't like to see anyone go out with that type of injury. I mean, it's a full, at best, probably 8-month injury for rehab, even for like a quarterback. But especially for a team like Green Bay, they went into that game with such high hopes and had a lead there, I think by 8 or 9 points, and ended up losing the game and losing by far their best defensive player. So devastating injury for Micah Parsons. Feel terrible also about Patrick Mahomes, and not good for the NFL. You want to see the best and the stars out there. So hopefully both of them make a speedy return.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody would have thought going into week 16 that Phillip Rivers would still be starting and Patrick Mahomes wouldn't be starting. So I guess that's where we're at now. The Colts almost beat the Seahawks yesterday, even though Rivers came up a bit short, though. But a lot going on with the NFL. We'll get some more picks during the week. And also this week, we have the college football playoff, which will begin coming up on Friday night with Alabama and Oklahoma in 3 games on Saturday. So now let's go to our second play of the day, Lee, and it's time now for our hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
We're going to go to the NHL tonight. The Ducks continuing their East Coast swing. They led the Pacific Division, and unfortunately, they've stubbed their toe the last few games. But I'm going to go with them tonight. They're in New York in the world's most famous arena against the Rangers, and I'm going to take Anaheim. They're a short underdog tonight. Now, number one, the Rangers have been a little better at home. They were awful to start the season. 4-8-3 now, so not great, but better than what it was. And they came back to beat Montreal in overtime on Saturday, and the Ducks off a loss to the Devils on Saturday as well. Anaheim has had 1 3-game losing streak this year, so they have done a good job bouncing back from losses, now coming off consecutive losses. We'll see if they can rebound coming up tonight. Also, you have a little bit of a homecoming in a sense. Chris Kreider and Jacob Trouba, a couple former Rangers, went to the Ducks in the offseason. Now they're headed back to New York. Let's expect good games out of them. We're going to take the Anaheim Ducks tonight, full game against the New York Rangers, short dog as our NHL hidden gem.
I love it. You've been really good in the hockey. Been hot there. We've been hot in both sports. So I like the fact that you got 2 ex-players coming back to play their old team. So they'll be fired up and the team will want to perform for them. And like I said, Rangers aren't anything special at home.
No, they've been really good on the road, but just for some reason just stunk at home. So we'll see. And I don't know if I could trust them to win back-to-back games coming up at home. We do have coming up, Lee. We will talk about the NBA. Not much in college tonight. It's kind of a slow card, so we're going to focus on the NBA. Really good game in the Western Conference between the Rockets and the Nuggets. And that is coming up. We are going to discuss that next. You are listening to the Monday edition of Locked On Bets. Let's talk now about FanDuel. That's right. As we wrap up another week in the NFL, no Sundays, they move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. And with FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. So we've talked about the live betting, and let's bring it up again. So tonight you have Dolphins, Steelers, and Pittsburgh to wrap up Week 15. Pittsburgh is a 3-point favorite. Now, if you maybe want to wait until the game gets going and get a better number, depends on which side you're on. If you want the Dolphins, maybe you want to see Pittsburgh score early and get a few more points with the Dolphins, or the opposite. If you like Pittsburgh, maybe you want to see if the Dolphins kick a field goal early or get a touchdown early, then you can jump in on Pittsburgh. And also with the weather being not so great tonight in the Steel City, that maybe you can get an adjusted number on the total in-game. So those are some things you can wait for. If you don't want to bet right before kickoff, you can still get in even after kickoff. That's the beauty of live betting. And also with props as well. Tua, Aaron Rodgers, with some of them, what they could do if it's really windy out. Maybe you could jump in game and take the under on their passing yards, or if it's not too terrible, maybe get a good number and go the other way and take an over. So you have all those choices tonight, and then even with the NFL moving forward, not just this evening, but the rest of the way. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Now we're going to talk about our friends at Rocket Money. And you know what the best thing about Rocket Money is? They do a lot of work for you. Ever feel like your money just disappears each month? It happens fast. A few subscriptions here, an impulse buy there, and suddenly the numbers in your bank account don't match the numbers in your head. Rocket Money helps you get clarity, track every dollar, and stay in control of your finances, because managing your money shouldn't feel like a second job. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you so you can save more and stress less. What about those subscriptions you have? All these streaming services out there, you don't know what you have sometimes. So Rocket Money will stay on top of that in case maybe you're doubling up on a subscription. Maybe you have a friend or a family member that does it, and you want to eliminate that so you can make sure you're not spending so much money. Also, the one dashboard you can see all your spending on, that makes it easy to understand where your money is going. It's all trying to organize your life with everything going on out there, that you can get your money in order, and that's what Rocket Money is there for. So take control of your finances and cancel your unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. We continue this Monday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers, Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports, as we now shift to the NBA. And now that we know who's in the NBA Cup final, it's coming up tomorrow. The Spurs and Knicks in Vegas. A couple games Wednesday. Then we're back into a regular schedule, like moving forward after this. But a really good game in Denver tonight between the Rockets and the Nuggets. And time now for our wrong team favorite.
What the fuck?
WTF.
One of the funniest stats, Lee, and you told me this before the show, is that the Nuggets haven't won a home game since November 8th, which is the oddest thing. They've been on fire on the road, and they haven't won a home game in 5 weeks.
Yep. 11 straight road wins, 4 straight road losses. So 15 games they've played since that last win and at home. But now they got to come home after a 4-game sweep they had on the road and play the team that they beat a couple weeks ago, Houston Rockets. And the Houston Rockets all of a sudden got hot. They're in the number 3 hole in the Western Conference here. So you got the number 2 team, Denver, against the number 3 team here in Houston. Got a rematch. Houston lost that game at home, but like I said, has won 11 of the 15. Now you're looking at the line. You're saying, why is Denver only a 1.5-point favorite? Well, do have some injuries. Got a couple guys like no Christian Braun. He's been out for a long time. No Aaron Gordon. And also no Julian Strawther. So you're like, well, Strawther's not a big guy, but they've been starting him. He's been coming off the bench. So the problem now is, other than Murray and the Joker, their starting lineup isn't good. They got to play the guys off the bench like Tim Hardaway Jr. and also another guy from Miami, Bruce Brown, more extended minutes. So I think that's a problem here. I think Houston will be motivated. Don't fall for the trap in Denver being only a 1.5-point favorite at home here. Take the Houston Rockets to extend. That's right. Extend the Houston Rockets to extend the Denver Nuggets here. Home losing streak to number 5 here. We're going to take the Houston Rockets here. Wrong team favored over the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, it's an amazing schedule. I don't want to call it a glitch, but just the way it is that they played all these road games, won them all, and at home they've lost the Bulls and the Kings and just some ugly home losses in the stretch. And again, the Rockets looking to avenge that loss at home to the Nuggets back a few weeks ago. So we'll see if they can get it tonight in this big Western Conference showdown. So Lee, with we're December 15th, halfway through December. So what's going on with Paramount Sports now with the bowl season already kicking off, college football playoff this weekend, and NFL coming down the stretch?
Yep. The last 2 weeks, you want to get More than 2 weeks of action here, starting tonight all the way through the 31st. I think there's 30 bowl games. We've got college football playoffs this weekend and before the end of the year, and 3 weeks of NFL. Normally $397. Use coupon code SAVE100, just $297. Get all my selections. We had another big weekend, went 1-0 for our client Saturday on Washington. Had a 3-2 weekend on Sunday in the NFL. Use that coupon code SAVE100, just one place, ParamountSports.com.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets, as well as you can find the podcast on Spotify or Apple Play as well. You can find it there. Just type in Locked On Bets, and you'll be all set. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. We'll be back with you coming up on Tuesday for another edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.